For years, everyone in the neighborhood knew Aisha as the woman with the warmest smile. The kind of smile that made strangers feel welcome, that softened angry voices that hid storms no one ever suspected. She smiled at the milkman every morning, at the school children who passed her gate, at the women who whispered behind her back. She smiled at weddings, funerals, birthdays, at life itself. No one ever asked what it cost her to keep smiling. Aisha lived in a modest house at the edge of the city, painted a pale cream that faded a little more every summer. Inside, everything was neat. Too neat, some would say. Cushions aligned perfectly. Curtains ironed without a crease. Shoes arranged in straight lines near the door. It was the kind of order people created when chaos lived inside them. Her husband, Rashid, was respected. A successful businessman, well-spoken, generous in public. He donated to the mosque, sponsored school events, and shook hands with pride. People admired him. Some envied him. And almost everyone said the same thing. Rashid is lucky. His wife is so patient, always smiling. What they didn't know was that Aisha's smile was not happiness. It was armor. Every morning she woke before dawn, long before Rashid stirred. She would sit on the edge of the bed, feet touching the cold floor, and breathe quietly. That silence, those few minutes, were the only time she belonged to herself. Because once Rashid woke up, the house changed. It was never loud violence, never broken bones that could be shown. Rashid was careful. His cruelty was polished, measured, hidden behind closed doors and polite laughter outside. "You're useless," he would whisper while adjusting his tie. "Smile properly. Don't embarrass me. You should be grateful I married you." Words can bruise deeper than fists. And Aisha carried those bruises like invisible scars. She had learned early that tears only made things worse. So she practiced smiling in the mirror. A soft curve of the lips, calm eyes, no shaking, no cracks. Years passed like this. They had one daughter, Zara, a quiet child with observant eyes. Zara noticed things adults ignored. The way her mother flinched at sudden sounds. The way she held her breath when Rashid entered a room. The way her smile faded the moment his back turned. "Ami, are you okay?" Zara once asked when she was 7. Aisha knelt, fixed her daughter's hair, and smiled. "I'm fine, John. Always fine." That was the first lie Zara learned from her mother. Outside, life went on. Weddings were attended. Guests were hosted. Rashid's success grew. Aisha's smile became famous. Women admired her patience. Men respected her silence. But inside her, something was slowly dying. The dark truth Aisha carried was not just the pain. It was the promise she had made to herself, a promise no one knew about. Years ago, before marriage, before Rashid, there had been another life. Aisha had been bright, ambitious. She wanted to be a teacher. She loved books, poetry, the idea of helping children find their voices. That dream ended the night Rashid slapped her for the first time, softly, almost apologetically, and then cried, blaming stress, blaming love, and Aisha believed him. But something inside her changed that night. She decided she would survive. Not escape, not yet. But survive long enough to protect one thing that mattered more than her own pain. Zara. Aisha watched her daughter grow carefully, teaching her strength in small ways. How to speak clearly, how to look people in the eye, how to never apologize for existing. Lessons wrapped in bedtime stories and gentle advice. Rashid never noticed. He underestimated Aisha. He thought silence meant weakness. He was wrong. The breaking point came on an ordinary evening. Rashid returned home angry. A business deal had failed. His pride was wounded, and wounded pride always looked for a target. Zara was studying in her room. Aisha was in the kitchen. "You think you're smart now?" Rashid snapped, throwing his keys. "You enjoy watching me fail?" Aisha stayed quiet. She always did. But then Rashid walked toward Zara's room. Something inside Aisha shattered. For the first time in years she spoke, not softly, not politely. "Stop." Rashid turned, shocked. "What did you say?" "I said stop," she repeated, her voice steady but her hands trembling. "You will not go near her." There was a long silence. Rashid laughed, but there was fear in his eyes. That night Aisha didn't smile, and that terrified him more than any scream. The next few weeks were tense. Rashid tried to regain control. Kind words, fake apologies, expensive gifts. Aisha accepted them all with her familiar smile. But this time the smile had a different meaning. Behind it she was preparing. The dark truth she had hidden for years was finally coming to light. Aisha had been saving money, small amounts hidden carefully. She had collected documents, certificates, evidence. She had recorded conversations. She had written everything down in a diary no one knew existed, and most importantly, she had contacted someone from her past, Ms. Farah, her old college teacher. One afternoon, while Rashid was away, Aisha took Zara's hand and stepped outside the house, not to visit a neighbor, not to shop, but to walk into a future she had feared for years. The legal process was slow, painful, humiliating. Rashid fought back, using his influence, his charm. People doubted Aisha. Some blamed her. She smiled all these years. How bad could it be, they said. But smiles don't tell the truth. Silence doesn't mean consent. In court, Aisha finally stopped smiling. She spoke calmly, clearly. She told the truth, not with anger, not with tears, but with strength earned through suffering. Evidence followed. Witnesses emerged. Rashid's perfect image began to crack. Zara sat beside her mother, holding her hand, seeing her not as a victim, but as a warrior. When the judgment came, it wasn't just a legal victory. It was freedom. Months later, Aisha stood in a small classroom, chalk in hand. Children laughed, learned, asked questions. On the wall hung a simple sign. Your voice matters. Aisha smiled again. But this time the smile was real. Because the dark truth she had hidden for years was not weakness, it was patience, planning and courage. And when she finally revealed it, it changed everything.